Welcome to episode 2 of Tales from the Wicker Couch. Today is September 15th, 2023, and this is a YouTube series about my life and life over 60. So if you're stopping by for the first time, stick around for a little bit, see if you like me. If you don't, move on and find a channel that you can watch that you can get some joy out of. And I hope you find some joy today with me. Last time I talked about, I had different segments, and today I'm going to have different segments. This is kind of an evolving series. Cut, uncut. Also on my channel, you can find a series about gardening, a series about floss tube, which is cross stitch. I have some sewing and some quilting and just other fun things that happen in my life. So let's just start with books. Every time I film, I talk about a book I've either read or I'm reading. And this time, last time I told you I was going to read this book. I'm halfway through, so that's better than nothing, right? And this is a book by John Acuff called Soundtracks. It is a self-help book about switching negative thoughts and all kinds of thoughts, just switching them off in your brain. And I've enjoyed it. Last time I told you that I met John, that Tom and I met John in Mount Dora, Florida, and that's not true. I asked Tom and I said, where did we meet this guy named John? We met him in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. We were at a race in Bristol, and we met him in North Carolina at Blowing Rock, one of our favorite places to go to. And he was just sitting outside. I was inside a shop shopping, and Tom struck up a conversation with him. Tom gave John his business card, and John sent this in the mail, so I'm grateful to him. And I have been practicing some of the things he shows you or tells you, like for instance, one of the pages in the book says 50 turn down techniques you can use today when your broken soundtracks get loud. It's really about training yourself to switch channels when you go that negative direction, or that any kind of direction that makes you less of you. And it's really good. I'm certain the principles can also be found in the Bible. But if you are not a Christian and you don't have a Bible, go get one. But if you're not, this book is really good. They really are Christian principles. It's not a Christian book, but they are principles based on how I think God wants us to live too. We don't want to take negative thoughts captive, because they just send you down a spiral, right? So that's excellent. That's an excellent book. I also picked up, I believe his name is Richard Evans. He wrote The Walk, and there's a series, and I read half of it, but I had to put it down. And I had to put it down because it is, to me, it's depressing. I don't know if the book gets better, but after halfway through, I was so depressed. I said, this book isn't for me. It's a bestseller. A lot of people love that book. Great. I did not like it because it was very sad for at least half of it. So put that down. And I didn't pick up anything else. So I have, let's see, there I am. So I have a little bit less than half to finish this one. I'll finish that hopefully in the next few days. And then I want to restart this series that I read years ago called the Mitford series by Karon. And I'm going to start that. At Home in Mitford is the first book in a series that she wrote about a pastor who's unmarried, and he's in his 40s or 50s, I believe. And it's just a precious little series. And though I remember the main parts of the series, I'd love to read it again. It's very sweet. I think it would be a book that pastors' wives and women in general who are like in their 40s and over. Even though I read it in my 30s, it's really identifiable to that group over 40, I think. So that's the book business I've been messing with. Old movies. This is my section about old movies. I saw an old movie about a week ago called Too Many Husbands. It has Fred MacMurray and Jean Arthur, and it was filmed in 1940. It's hilarious. It's about this lady. There are several movies like this, because I know Doris Day made a movie that was, the storyline was exactly the same. This person is lost at sea or believed to be dead, and so Fred MacMurray is believed to be dead, and so his wife remarries his best friend. And then he's not dead, he's been on an island, he comes back, and then the story really starts with him coming back and them dealing with, well, now she has two husbands, and it's really funny. It's worth watching, and it's free on YouTube right now. Free is the deal. I decided to start a new segment called Something Old, Something New, Something Purchased, Something Blue. I know, it's corny, but just go with me on this. So, something old. I decided to show you two things that I have that are antiques. One is this little chain purse. It is made with chains, all hooked together, little tiny chains. And there's my hand, so there's how big it is. It's not very big. My Granny Mary gave me this, and it opens up, and it's not broken or anything. It's just wonderful. And you can silver polish it. I dip it in that silver stuff. And then it's super, super shiny. It's lost some of its shine. But that's something old. And then I have another thing that my husband's mother gave me. It is a beaded purse. Now here's my hand. So it's a little bit bigger than my hand. And it is so pretty. Look at that. Look at those tiny, tiny, tiny beads. If you're familiar with beads, these are smaller than seed beads. The modern seed beads are about twice as big as these. These are probably a little bit bigger. Hi, Tebow. Tebow's gonna knock into my camera. Tebow, I'm gonna pause. You can see him in the first episode. I'm not gonna let him get in this unless he just comes right up to me. Anyway, these seed beads are, goodness gracious, maybe a little bit bigger than well, they're smaller than the round things that are on top of some push pins or stick pins. But isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. And it opens up. It's still usable. It's got some tears in it, so I just put it in my china cabinet. So that's pretty. So there's my two old things. Something old. And then something new. I got this cookbook. I told you about the Mitford series by Karon. Well, in that series, in all the books, there are recipes, because it's an old town, it's a Presbyterian pastor, and in all the books, there are different things that different people make or bake that are famous in that little town. And so what Karon did was she made a Mitford cookbook, and I was so excited to get this at a thrift store. So it's new to me. It's a cookbook. It has, oh, there's a picture of Karon. Isn't she beautiful? The Mitford series cookbook. Let me see how many recipes are in this. Let's see. There are a lot. They aren't counted. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's just a bunch of recipes. I'm sure there's over 200 recipes in here. And it's a beautiful book too. For instance, here's just a page with several pictures on it. Isn't that pretty? And these high green hills, that right there, that is the title of one of the books in the series. So I'm happy to get that. So something old, something new, something thrifted. Now, even though that was thrifted, it's new to me. But something thrifted is this shirt. See, this shirt. Here you go. You can see that. It stops right there. I love going to thrift stores. I just love it. So that's something thrifted. Something old, something new, something thrifted, something blue. Because I like blue. Blue's my favorite color. So this is something blue. I got this at a thrift store too. But isn't this cool? It's like a sort of a tealish blue, and those are for candles. But I think what I'm going to do with this Christmas, this is the exact color I just painted the woodwork in my living room. And I think instead of putting candles up here, I'm going to put little Christmas trees. And then decorate each little Christmas tree some different way. Either in 5 different colors, or I have no idea. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put little Christmas trees here. Maybe they'll all be, I don't know. But that's my something blue. So there you go. There you go. Let's see. I have notes. Look, I have notes. Let's see. What has happened in the last fortnight? Both Tom and I have been to the doctor. Tom, we have a boat. I'll put some pictures at the end of different things we talk about. And Tom and I and our family went out on a boat adventure. The boat that the first video in this series, you saw him working on that boat. We went out in the boat to a place in Mount Dora on Lake Dora, and we were having a great time. And we had this big blow-up thing, and Tom wanted to jump off the boat into the blow-up thing. Well, he stood on the, is it called gunnel, the edge of the boat, and he went to jump and he slipped, and he hit his hip on that gunnel part, and he hit the inside of his leg on the, I don't know what you call it, starts with an S, but it's the thing that you tie rope onto when you want to moor your boat. Cleat? I think it's called a cleat. Yeah. So he has a bruise on the inside part of his leg, upper inside part of his leg, that looks exactly like a cleat. And then he went to the doctor. He, of course, didn't go for the first 3 days because men tend to be that way. I'm kind of that way too. And he finally went because he was hurting really bad. I said, you need to go and see that you don't have a fracture in your hip or whatever. So he went, and it took 1 week and him calling 3 or 4 times for the doctor's office to tell Tom, you're fine, it's just a really bad bruise. I don't understand. So I guess, you know, my son, I talked to my son who used to be a fireman. He said, Mom, you should have just gone to the doctor's office and said, tell me what's wrong with me. You've had, you know, blah, blah, blah. Next time I will. Because it could have been bad. He could have had a blood clot. He could, you know, so whatever. I think doctor's offices are overwhelmed now. It's not the care that we had 30 years ago. And that's too bad. I'm sure insurance companies have something to do with that. And that's too bad. So he went to the doctor. Well, I went to the doctor too. I went to the doctor about my knee because it's been giving me trouble. I had an MRI not that long ago. It has like 4 or 5 things wrong with it. And I need to go have some things done. So I made this appointment with this doctor. I get there. I had the picture from an MRI I had earlier with a different doctor because my medical coverage changed. He didn't even look at that. He took several pictures while I was there and said, okay, this is the thing you need to do. And I was in and out of there so fast, and I feel very intimidated by doctors. I don't know, do y'all do that too? I feel intimidated by doctors. And so I usually think of the questions I want to ask after I leave. And I didn't even say, and I should have, well, Doc, what about the report that I handed you? You know, it says there's 3 ganglion cysts behind my knee. It says there's 2 tears. You talked about one. I just didn't have the guts, or I don't know. I'm just dumb. I was being dumb to discuss what was really wrong. So I called his office back again, which is unlike me. I called his office back. I said, you know, the doctor didn't talk about what I wanted to talk about. I'm making another appointment. So in this next appointment, I'm going to be brave. I may take somebody with me just to make sure, or just take a piece of, well, I had a piece of paper with me. I don't know, do you get intimidated? I sure do. I said that twice, didn't I? All right, so I talked about that. Now, my husband kind of dared me to talk about politics on this series. Here's what I have to say about politics. There you go. That's it. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Okay. If you want to find me on Facebook, same name on Facebook, you can kind of tell what my politics are there. But, you know, I just want, look, I don't care what party you are. We need to get along. And until we can start having a conversation with each other without being mean and ugly, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. It's too bad that America seems to be divided into 3 sections. I used to say half and half, but it's 3 now. It's that side, and it's the people right here who are fed up or who don't care or whatever. There's just a group, you know, and that's too bad. All 3 need to sit together and, you know, get some peace in this place. That's my political moment. Tom. Usually I have a section about Tom, and this time what I'll insert right here, because Tom's out of town. He's at a race in North Carolina, a drag race. He's the chaplain for Racers for Christ, full-time chaplain. That means he marries, buries, has Bible studies with people, and does church services at the racetrack, because these people aren't near a church, and usually they can't take their big rig to a church. So he preaches, and he's known these people for 30 years. It's like a traveling church. Kind of the old pastors used to travel from town to town on a horse. That's kind of what he does, but he's in a car or a motorhome. So what I'll insert here is a section with us driving the boat that day that he fell, pre-fall, okay? Let's talk about our grandkid moment. If you don't have grandkids, you probably have nieces and nephews that have kids, or neighbors that have kids. So hopefully you come in contact with children from time to time, because boy, are they great, aren't they? They just light up your eye. When I see little babies, like we don't have any, well, we do. My granddaughter Collins is 1, but 1's not a baby, you know, 1 is kind of a toddler. And anytime I see babies in public, you know, everybody always does the same thing. Oh, they're so sweet. They just make your eyes light up. New life is a wonderful thing. So here's my grandkid moment. Lily stayed last weekend. What? Do you want to talk to me? Speak. Speak. You can hear him, can't you? He's speaking to me. Do you want to get closer? Do you want to come closer? Can you? Okay, can you look over here? Can you look over here? No? Can you speak? Speak. Tell me how you feel. Tell me. Do you love me? Speak. Speak. He's just staring at me. You can give me a kiss? Yeah. Ugh. I love him. His name is Tebow. Yes, he's named after the football player. What was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about Lily. Lily is my granddaughter, and she stayed a couple of days. Her parents were here too, and then her parents went and did some things, and then, you know, she was here with us. And that was fun because she's a mess. And what I found all of her mother's prom and homecoming dresses, and she had to try them all on. Now she's 4 years old, so I had these little clippy things where I make them fit her kind of. And she, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them. I save everything. Oh look, there's like a light right there. The sun is coming up and it's getting hot. I don't know what time is it? Is it like, oh honey, it's like 9 o'clock or something. Anyway, she tried on all those dresses. It was hilarious. Well, then she went home, and the next day, it was Monday, I think, Monday or Tuesday, was Grandparents' Day at her daycare center. I think it was Grandparents' Day in America. Hallmark will think of anything, won't they? So I went to Grandparents' Day, and her other grandmother, Maureen, went with me. You can just see his nose, can't you? It's his nose. And we had a great time, but when it came time to leave, I wasn't anticipating the meltdown. And she just bawled. She cried and cried and cried. And it made sense to me. After we left, we felt terrible, but then we realized, you know, usually if people come in the afternoon from her family, they're coming to take her home. And we did not take her home. We left because we didn't have a car seat or anything, so no. If I do it next year, I'm going to take her home. The sun is just killing me, so I'm going to scooch down a little bit. All right, that's my grandkid moment. Now, my Collins, my other granddaughter who lives in Denver, she turned 1 this month, and Lily turns 4 at the end of this month, so that's exciting. And then my grandson, Buddy, started his first day of kindergarten this month. He lives in Denver, and he had a great time, and we have great pictures. He's having a good time, and one of his good little friends lives right down the street. Let's see, man cave. Okay, right now I'm in a, you know, I think when you retire, I don't know about you, but if you get to retire, it's a wonderful thing. If you don't, I'm sorry, but it is a wonderful thing. I was a teacher for a long time, and when you retire, I think I started going through all my rooms and deciding, you know, what to clean, what to change, what to do. And then all of a sudden, one of our supporters in Races for Christ passed and gave us his collection of Dale Earnhardt things to our ministry and said, you know, sell these things and you can donate the money to your ministry. I said, okay. I didn't know how much it was, not what it's worth, how many things. Probably 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 totes full. So we are in the process of it came in cardboard boxes. We're in the process of putting it in totes, and then maybe every race we go to, taking a tote with us to the race and offering for donations for people to purchase those things. So it's a lot. And then at the same time, it's in the man cave, which is a room needs to be redone and cleaned, painted, everything. So that's a process that'll take probably 6 months, because I have another project I want to do in my kitchen, and that was put on hold when we got all the Dale Earnhardt stuff. So that's a big project we're doing right now. Let's see, Jesus moment. I have a app on my phone called the Bible app. It's like looks like a little Bible. Can't show it to you because I'm using my phone. And in the Bible app, it has like a verse of the day and a devotion. You can listen to a very short devotion, and then you can go ahead and study further if you want to. They have all these great commentaries and different Bible versions. If you're a person who you only listen to King James, they have that in there, and they have other ones too. But I want to read you the verse that was up there for today. David wrote this in Psalms. Be strong and take heart, all you who hope in the Lord. And at this point in Psalms, that's Psalms 31:24. At this point in Psalms, David was having a rough time and he was crying out. And then in this devotional, it talked about what hope meant. Be strong and take heart, all you who hope in the Lord. And the two things it said, this is not me, this is the devotional, said hope is two things. Number one, it's trust. Complete trust. Hoping is trusting. And also hope is active, not passive. It's not like, well, I hope I have a good day today. It's not like that. It's not like that kind of hope. It's a hope. Like my hope in Christ, my trust in Christ, my active trust in Him is what leads me through every day. It's what makes me able to sleep, sometimes not sleep, but sleep most of the time at night and wake up in the morning ready. So I hope you know the Lord. If you don't, try Him out. Find a Bible anywhere or online, or let me know and I'll send you one. Just private message me your address and I'll send you a Bible. I got plenty to give away. But I hope you trust in Him. If you don't, try Him out. Test Him. It's worth it. So this is all I have for today. I hope you have had a great fortnight. That means 2 weeks. It makes me sound, I don't know, Elizabethan when I talk about it. I hope you've had a great 2 weeks. There's a plane going over. Can you hear it? I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can hear the birds. So I hope you come and visit me again. Thanks if you stuck to it all this time. At the end, I'll show some videos of the boat ride and some other things going on. The quilt behind me, I've decided to every 2 weeks have a different quilt. It's a quilt I made. If you want to see more about it, check out my other series on my channel. I made this, I don't know, after COVID, maybe 21. So, have a great day, a great week, and a great month. God bless you. Bye-bye.